So in this episode, I want to share with you what I'm currently doing to stay fit and healthy. I only do CrossFit these days about twice a week. I burn about 3,000 calories a day, sometimes 4,000. I do use the cold plunge. I feel the grass on my skin. I feel the strength of the sun exposes much of my naked skin to the red lights. One thing that I do now every day is to take creatine. I also take our new collagen and colostrum every day simply because of the benefits for gut health, athletic performance. Right now I'm experimenting with a couple of natural plant-based actually supplements to raise testosterone levels.
You're listening to the Primal Shift Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Kummer, and my goal is to help you achieve optimal health by bridging the gap between ancestral living and the demands of modern society. Get ready to unlock the transformative power of nature as the ultimate biohack, revolutionizing your health and reconnecting you with your primal self.
I'd like to thank Peluva for sponsoring this week's episode. Peluva is the brand behind my favorite zero-drop minimalist shoes with the distinctive 5-toe design that allows for correct dynamic movement of the foot when walking or running. The latter is impossible when toes are encased in a single box, even a white box. I love my Peluvas because they give me the most authentic barefoot style experience, but with sufficient cushioning to use them all day, even on hard surfaces. Peluvas are also incredibly stylish and I really like how they look. I've been using my Peluvas during intense CrossFit workouts, while walking the dog, and even during a recent 8-day trip to Disney World, and they've been unbelievably comfortable. They feel like walking barefoot on a putting green. Now you can try a pair of Peluvas with no risk by visiting peluva.com. That's peluva.com. Make sure to use code KUMMER for 15% off your first pair. And now back to the episode. Well, it's been a while since we last talked about what my current wellness, fitness, and supplements regimen looks like. So in this episode, I want to share with you what I'm currently doing to stay fit and healthy, and some of the things that I no longer do, or at least not to the extent anymore, including CrossFit, which is interesting. So let's start with exercise. The one thing that I do most, it's really the core of my exercise routine, as funny as it may sound, is walking. Walking the dog more specifically. So I really, make sure that at least once a day, sometimes twice, I go for a 45-minute walk. I try to do it in the morning, first thing in the morning actually, which has a couple of benefits. If I don't do it right in the morning, then I go to the computer. And so my day starts with, reading emails, responding, and, it basically sets quite a hectic tone for the rest of the day. On the flip side, if it's, while it's still dark, I head out with the dog, I go for a walk, I can sort my thoughts, I can think about what I want to do, in what order I want to do it, what the priorities are, etc. It just makes everything run smoother for the rest of the day, I've noticed. The second benefit of doing the morning work is while it's still dark, usually right now as of this recording, it's summer. It's actually July 15th. So the sun rises relatively early and I get that early morning sunlight directly into my eyes. And I really enjoy that as well, because that too has a dramatic positive impact on my circadian rhythm, on my mood, and just how everything goes. Feeling that warmth of the morning sunlight, getting it into my eyes, it just, I don't know, for me it releases, endorphins. It makes me happy. It makes me excited. And I really like that. And so I get basically a double win. I get the exercise, I get a triple win really. I get the sun, and I get the mental benefits of being able to just be out in nature and not think about stuff that, stresses me out. So that's my core. And every day, I get about 15,000 steps or so in. And that obviously includes the morning walk, but then all the walking that I do throughout the day, working with the animals, etc., feeding them and doing all of those things. The second thing, somewhat related, is manual labor, and that is important because I only do CrossFit these days about twice a week. There are weeks where I only go once, and there are weeks where I don't go at all because I don't have time. or at least I have other priorities. So I don't make it to the gym, even though I absolutely love doing CrossFit, meeting up with friends, working out together with others. I really like that, but sometimes it's just not in the cards for me because of competing priorities. And so the manual labor aspect is very important because it kind of compensates for the lack of CrossFit workouts, or really, it's really the other way around. Going CrossFit compensates for the lack of being active otherwise. And so usually I'm fairly active. I have to lift feedbacks. I have to, shovel wood chips and dirt and do a lot of things that are at the end of the day like a workout, not only for me, but also for the dog, I've noticed, because my goal is to walk the dog 45 minutes twice a day and have 1 to 2 play sessions throughout the day. So he gets exercise, so to say, about 4 times a day, right? But sometimes, again, timing-wise, it doesn't work out. But I've noticed that on days where I do a lot of manual labor, like the other day, I had to get a bunch of wood chips from the front of the house to where we have the chickens, because, in that area where there is a lot of dirt and stuff, we keep adding wood chips to turn all of that into compost. Because if you mix the, chicken manure with the wood chips, and just wait long enough, all of that turns into compost and nutrient-rich topsoil. So we shovel wood chips every so often. And by just going back and forth, I don't know how many times, with wood chips, the dog, runs with me. I take the tractor, to haul the wood chips back, but I have to get them. I have to load them and then unload them. And all of that is manual labor. But in between, I drive. And so the dog runs with me, next to the tractor, gets super excited, runs around, wants to play. And he's wiped out after it, and I'm wiped out. So we, both get great exercise without having to go to the gym or go for that walk or, throw the ball or whatever. So it's very much how it's supposed to be, by just being naturally active, throughout the day, to compensate for the lack of CrossFit. Obviously, CrossFit is still important to me, especially the resistance training or the resistance part of it, lifting weights. I still like doing that separately. And I've actually also started experimenting with a different resistance training modality called X3 from Dr. Jaquish. I'm probably going to do a review down the line here, but that's also based, using resistance bands to kind of mimic resistance training while reducing the risk of injury that you might, expose yourself to when you do regular barbell training. So that's kind of my exercise routine: walking, some CrossFit, manual labor, and some other form of resistance training. And with that, I burn about 3,000 calories a day, sometimes 4,000, especially on days where I do CrossFit, and walk the dog. And, I stay in shape. My physical performance hasn't really gone down since I reduced my CrossFit regimen from 5 times a week to 2 times a week. So it seems to be working well, and everything that I'm doing otherwise outside of the gym seems to more than compensate for the lack of, former fitness. From a wellness perspective, right now, again, it's summer, so I don't use the sauna much. I use it more in winter. Right now, all I have to do is go outside, move around a little bit, and I sweat like I am in the sauna. It's hot, it's humid, so I don't really need the sauna that much. I do use the cold plunge quite a bit, and a lot, for just cooling down. I don't necessarily count how long I'm in there. I don't make sure that I'm, 5 minutes or whatever in the cold plunge. I just jump in and stay there for a while, do some breathing exercises, and then get out. So that's just a natural kind of part for me, to cool down when I'm, especially after working in the yard or working with the animals. It feels great to just jump into the plunge. One thing that I've noticed that's, again, a double or triple win really, is to go outside around lunchtime usually. Sometimes I do it more than once. I take off my shirt, I take off my shoes, and I sit in the grass under the sun, and I close my eyes and I listen to what's going on around me. I listen to the chickens, I listen to the geese, I listen to, the turkeys and our guineas. I feel the grass on my skin. I feel the strength of the sun on my skin and how the sweat, gets out of my pores. I smell, what I can smell. It's just it almost engages like all the senses. And at the same time, it helps me be very present by focusing on how I feel, what I feel. It's a meditation at the end of the day where I just sit in the sun for 10, 15, 20 minutes, however much time I have, and I engage my senses. I listen and feel what I can, and it puts me in a different mental state. It's like meditation. I get the benefits of the UV rays from the sun. So I get my daily, sun exposure, without, burning, obviously. I get my grounding in at the same time. I get my meditation in. I get so many things by just sitting for 20 minutes on the lawn and listening to what's going on around me and feeling what's going on around me. It's so powerful, yet so simple. I would almost argue that's the most important part of my daily routine, is to do that, to spend those 10 to 20 minutes sitting on the lawn, listening and feeling. If you've never done that, I highly encourage you to try it out. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. You don't need no tools, no gadgets, nothing. All you have to do is take off your shoes, take off your shirt, and sit in a patch of grass or soil or whatever the case might be. Something that's, a natural flooring, ideally. You don't want to sit on concrete. And that's absolutely, it's magical at the end of the day. You feel so much better when you're done, and you tick a lot of boxes by just doing that. I also do a lot of red light therapy, typically in the morning. When I then get into the office, I turn on my red light panel again, take off my shirt, expose as much of my naked skin to the red light. It also helps me. My wife, actually, what she does is she uses our Mido red light pod. It's like a sleeping bag almost, where you can get in and you get your 360 red light exposure. She swears by it, changes her day completely, her energy levels throughout the day, and how quickly she falls asleep at night. I've mentioned already cold plunging. I also do cold showers, and anytime I take a shower, especially in summer, I try to make it cold. It feels good. And there is so many benefits, obviously, to cold showers. From a supplements perspective, not really has changed much over the last couple of months. One thing that I do now every day is to take creatine. Creatine, I have a separate video on the benefits of creatine that should be out by the time you're listening to this or you're watching this. It's one of the most studied supplements on the market. It has so many benefits and so few downsides, if any at all. The worst case scenario, you get loose stools if you overdo it, if you take too much of it. But other than that, it helps with your cognition. It helps with exercise performance. It just makes sure your cells can produce more energy, both the cells in your brain as well as in other parts of your body. So creatine I take every day, 5 grams, typically mix it into my either my post-workout shake or the protein shake I consume with breakfast. I also take our new collagen and colostrum every day, simply because of the benefits for gut health, athletic performance, skin, nails, joints, hair, all of those good things. There are so many benefits to colostrum and to collagen. And so by getting both in one product, it makes it very easy. Obviously, I still consume the freeze-dried beef organs every day that we sell at MK Supplements. And I usually do a full serving of the beef organs, which has liver, heart, kidney, spleen, and pancreas in the ratios of the organ size in the animal. So you get a lot of liver, less heart, etc., etc. I combined it with the bone and marrow, even though I do consume quite a bit of dairy. So I get most likely all my calcium that I need. But I don't consume a lot of fresh bone marrow. And so consuming the bone and marrow supplement makes a lot of sense. And then I do have a serving. That's 2 capsules in our case of the heart and spleen, to get some of the extra nutrients that can help me with exercise performance and recovery. So those are the 3 that I take. And then protein, I have a lot of protein powders for reviews, etc., for the blog. And so we always have protein powders at home. And I typically, after breakfast, I make a shake with raw milk and 1 or 2 servings of protein. So that means 20 to 40 grams of protein from the powder. collagen and colostrum, creatine. I mix all of that and consume it just because protein is so important. And there is such a thing as maybe getting too much protein, but most of us don't reach that limit. We underconsume protein. And so I always try to get some extra. And if that raw milk combined with, the protein powder and the collagen and colostrum, that might give me an additional 50, 60 grams of protein, which is significant, and helps me really to reach my daily goals, especially on days when I work out. From there, I've been, right now I'm experimenting with a couple of natural plant-based actually supplements to raise testosterone levels like tonkadali and some others. And I've been also experimenting with different sleep supplements from Momentous and from Sleep Remedy, and to really find out how they impact my sleep. And I've noticed with some of those supplements, especially if I stack them together, I wake up less often throughout the night. Everyone wakes up. We all, enter a light sleep phase, and we might even briefly wake up, and sometimes we remember, sometimes we don't. But specifically with some of those supplements stacked together, I notice that I don't remember at all waking up. I might still, but I don't remember it. And so I feel like I get a little bit more either deep sleep or light sleep, or at least I have less awake time, throughout the night. And less tosses and turns as measured by 8 sleep, as well as my ultra-human ring that I wear right now as my fitness and recovery and sleep tracker. So those are the things that I do right now. Nothing really crazy. I try to keep it as simple as possible and try to do as many things that come as natural as possible. The walking, be it in the sun, without relying too much on gadgets and on things that you need to buy and spend money for. Obviously there is the cold plunge, there are the saunas, there are the red light panels, etc., that I leverage because I have them. But again, if you focus on being outside in nature, walking barefoot, exposing yourself to sunlight, the walking part, manual labor, outdoors, all of those things, you can do a lot of things without spending $1, and that's really what I try to do myself. And that's what I encourage you to focus on as well. Saves you money. And, anything you can do naturally that mimics how our ancestors would have done things, being out in nature, being exposed to cold temperatures, to hot temperatures, to natural soil. All of those things are definitely better than anything you can try to mitigate with gadgets, with supplements, and with stuff you pay money for. And with that, we're going to wrap it up. Hope I'll see you and hear you in the next episode.